It's another session of the Cocoa Free Podcast with All Hell Lois and Mooch Brown. And we are having a discussion about relationships. In particular, we're having a discussion about the ending of relationships and how it is that we can actually move on from that part of our lives. And I think we've all been there. Most of us, most people have had breakups. And how do we get over them? Or did we ever get over them? You either get over it or you tend to take one issue you had into a relationship into the next relationship. So, what do you think the biggest challenges are in getting over relationships?
Biggest challenge is getting over relationships.
Yeah, moving on.
Biggest challenge is more like, you gotta know what your worth. You gotta really know, pay attention to what your worth, because other people don't value things that you value in life. So you can't lower your standards to get on their level, so to say. So if you know your self-worth, that should be everything you can carry into moving on and being in a relationship with someone else. Now, the pain of what they done, that's a little bit different. You may carry that pain for some years, or, and some just carry pain better than others. You carry pain better than others.
You think?
Oh, come on. Strong woman, strongest woman I know.
Oh.
So, yeah. So,
well,
what do you think?
You mentioned knowing your worth, which I agree is very important. And it's probably the single thing that keeps people in the wrong relationships, is not knowing that they do have value and actually connecting with someone who agrees and sees their value and values that person. We don't really make decisions often to enter into relationships based on our value and our worth. It's typically because we were on the rebound from someone, or someone was there to comfort us during a difficult time. We were avoiding things within our own lives and wanting to just have some sort of happiness. Going into a relationship, especially a new relationship, is a great way to avoid what's going on. So if you've had any issue or any problem, the one thing you shouldn't do is bring someone else into it. You need some time to deal with yourself.
You definitely do.
But who wants to take time to deal with themselves and be alone? They feel like they're missing out on something. They have to, engage in intercourse with someone. They have to have companionship.
Yikes.
They have to have company. It's true. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel better, especially you enter into a relationship and it's new, it's brand new. They're seeing you with fresh eyes.
It depends on it, though.
It depends on what?
It depends on the person
that you're connecting with?
Yeah.
The new one?
It's probably,
Yeah.
It gotta be. If you don't, know them, you're not trying to meet no complete stranger off of the internet, are you?
Maybe.
Nah, bro.
Well, I would.
Better off taking time for yourself if you're gonna do that.
Right.
Now, if it's somebody you knew since a youth, or you knew him from church or as a kid, but to jump out there in this world in 2021, come on.
So you think it's better to have someone with whom you're familiar?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Again, I can't judge nobody for what they do. I can't judge nobody for, the choices they make. They go after their own happiness, but I've seen what's out there in 2021, and if you ain't careful, just saying. See, everybody ain't as lucky. Everybody, but maybe some people, they just have a plan. They just have a plan, and they want to, live their life happy. So, but I don't think you should specifically base you getting over a relationship with just hooking up with somebody. You know, it's different
Right.
things. Like a hookup, that's different. Like, yeah. So, you know, you want to find someone that really care for you, that really know you, that you're familiar with. You know, it's like you said.
Right.
Yeah. So you gotta be very cautious because that can cause more mental damage to you. Because you know you don't know that person from blue to moon. You don't know if they're gonna like use you, abuse you. Then you just came out of so-called unhappy
Right.
relationship. Now you enter into another one. Like, do you want to do that? But again, you know,
Well,
this
that's
isn't for the
why.
weak-minded out here.
That's why it's important to give it time. I mean, you need some time to just reflect on yourself, to reflect on
You right.
what's going on with you and who you are now, because relationships do change us. Time changes us. Experiences outside of those relationships also changes. So you have to, at some point, just stop and, like I said, engage in some self-reflection and think about, what is it that you want now? How is it that you should proceed through life in getting what you want? What do you need to work on? What do you need to change? What are the great things about you that you want to ensure continue on so that you still can bless the next person in your relationship with it? Because the tragedy of those things are when people have those good qualities that the other person didn't appreciate, and then they let them go thinking that they're not good enough, or thinking that that's just not what men or women want, when the one that's for you is going to appreciate those qualities, so you shouldn't change them. And then other people sometimes they want you to overcompensate for their own faults and shortcomings. And so they almost, well, women would say, train you to be the person that they wanted you to become for them, instead of you being authentic to who you are. So I think a whole lot gets lost in the shuffle. A lot gets lost because people aren't making the right choice from the start, and then they're wasting their energy on someone who really isn't the one for them. So I think that the main thing that people have to consider is who they are, who the person that they were with, who that person is, and come to a decision and a conclusion that maybe we just weren't good for each other. It's not that I'm not a good person, it's not that they're not a good person, but together, coming together, wasn't fluid, it wasn't authentic, it was not natural, the spiritual connection was not there. Whatever it is, just admit it. And if we can admit that and start there, we'd be so much better at getting over things. What do you think?
Well, you have to look at how the relationship started. Y'all obviously had something in common. Obviously, there was something that drew the relationship into existence.
Maybe.
So that's what you have to drive it off of. You can't enter a relationship as one person and then become a whole different person. Like, mentally, I mean, growth is different, but if you change your values or change things that...
But did they change, or were the true values revealed over time? Because I find that people don't typically change the core of who they are. Even if they take on a new religion, if they take on some kind of new persona, if they find out something about themselves that they didn't know, at the core they're still the same.
Right.
So is it that we're being our representative for too long in the relationship and not really showing who we are? Or is the other person showing themselves and then you're just not seeing it?
Like I said, y'all entered into a relationship. Y'all had some things. That's what I mean.
You
So
have
how do
things in common. Okay, so
far up?
let's give this
Because
as
y'all obviously formed a bond to love one
right
another.
based on something. So maybe that's what the person needs to ask. Where
That's
was
my
I?
thoughts.
Where was I at the time that I met this person? Where were they in their life? At what place were they at? So then you can realize, okay, this is why we connected, this is why we hooked up. But then what if that thing changes? And this one fact I think is most important of all when you're in a relationship. If you're going to choose to be with someone, Don't be with someone who is only effective in a place of, when you're at a point in your life that is temporary, I'll say. If it's a temporary space that you're in, oh, I had to go work in Chicago for 2 months and I met this person. And while I was in Chicago, I was not myself. I partied a lot, in bars a lot, whatever, because I just wanted to be free. No, not me, silly. I'm just saying, like, if you know that normally, if you know that that is not who you are, and that's when that person meets you, that's how they see you. But if it's not authentic to you, no sense in being with them. Now, that's just an example. But you have to think about what are the places and spaces in your life that are permanent. How would that person fit into your life? And when you're making a decision to be with someone, maybe it should be based on who you know you're going to be tomorrow and 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What's going to be constant in your life? How does that person fit into that life of constancy? So if they don't fit in, you got your answer. Right? So if you meet someone during a time that's just kind of a wild card time in your life, it's not your norm, then how is it that you would expect that relationship to pass the test of time? You can't. So I think we need to be a little more authentic from the start. I think we need to be more selective from the start. I think we should be really honest with ourselves and ask, each person should be asking, why am I connecting with this person? Is this relationship sustainable? Does it make sense? Is it feasible that I partner with this person? Instead of making decisions, long-term decisions, based on their short-term emotions and short-term lifestyles, then maybe that's a start. And then if you find yourself in a position where you are breaking up after some years, to accept who you are, accept that person and see them for who they are and were, and then deal with it from that point and get some therapy, get some counseling.
That's a good note.
Don't be hard on yourself. Don't be hard on other people. You're welcome. This is All Hell Lois with the Cocoa Free Podcast. You can follow me on YouTube at All Hell Lois or on Instagram at ALLHAIL Lois. Until next time, love and light.